Josh Stevens asked, have you ever eaten meat, and if so, do you miss it? I decided to try vegetarianism and maybe veganism if that works out about 4 weeks ago. I didn't really eat meat anyway. I didn't really eat any meat anyway, so I didn't figure it would be that difficult a transition, but now that I can't eat meat, I find myself missing it terribly. I'm just wondering if this is just a phase that will pass, or if I'm just screwed. Basically, I don't miss it. There are so many meat alternatives, like good meat alternatives, available to me anyway. There's a couple of Chinese vegetarian places near where I work, so anytime I get a hankering, I just head over there and grab something and I eat that. But I think maybe what's going on with you is like a kind of psychological thing, which is similar to, you know, when people go on a diet, and you know, even though before they weren't sitting around eating ice cream all the time, it's like, you know, because they can't have it, they want to have it. So maybe I would say, you know, like, reconsider, you know, why you're making this change. So what does it mean to you? You know, why do you want to make this commitment? And just sort of focus more on that and find some good alternatives, so you can sort of get that. So you can sort of, you know, trick yourself into believing that you're having it, basically. Works for me. I don't feel any kind of lack in my life from not eating meat, and I went from meat eater to vegan in about 2 weeks. I went the meat eater, had a lacto-ovo vegetarian phase for about 2 weeks that tapered off into veganism. Mikey the vegan asks, if you had to pick one, would you solve world hunger or cure cancer worldwide? So that's his first question. I would pick world hunger because to some degree individuals have a choice, in the developed world anyway. I don't know. It's kind of a hard call, but you know, like, I have choices in my life. You know, I could stop smoking, I could get more exercise, I could drink more water, I could eat less processed foods, and that would probably reduce my chance of cancer to a pretty low percentage. But if I were living in a place where hunger was a problem, that's caused by, you know, political and larger social issues, and that's not under my control, so I pick world hunger. Mikey's second question is, also, have you eaten something non-vegan since going vegan, even by mistake? I won't judge. I've been pretty careful, so although I'm sure a few things have gotten past me, the only one that I know of that I can remember anyway, I'm sure there's something else. There must be. There just has to be. But the only thing that comes to mind is that I bought a vitamin water. You know how they have the smart waters? I bought a vitamin water, and I got halfway through drinking it. I just assumed it was safe. Got halfway through drinking it, and I read the ingredients, and I thought, shit, because there was like calcium in it, and I believe that, I can't remember specifically what the ingredient was labelled as, but I believed from reading it that it was calcium derived from milk instead of from a mineral source. So yeah, that's what happened. Sky Karenins, sorry if I butchered that. What is your typical meal for breakfast, lunch and dinner? Kind of, I can sort of say what my typical food is for breakfast and lunch, but dinner is pretty varied. I've been doing a project where I've been taking pictures of my food, like whenever I remember to do it, for about the last 6 months, so I've got to make a video out of that and post that. That'll give you an idea of what I eat for dinner. But generally for breakfast, I have to eat something, but I'm not a big breakfast person, so generally what I eat is a muesli bar. And I have, oh look, I've gone red, isn't that fantastic? Stupid camera. Ah, excellent. Generally for breakfast I have a muesli bar, and then for lunch, like if I'm at home, I'll put something together. if I'm at work, and I'm at work more days of the week than I'm at home, so I'll use that. I can either go to the vegetarian Chinese place, or I can go to the Indian place and get a vegetarian curry, or I can go get vegetarian sushi. And I've checked them all out and asked them all the pertinent questions, so I know that their food is cool. Idiotex says, choose a number between 1 and 7, 1 and 10, now tell me why. I choose 7, and that's because of the numerological meaning of the number 7. So you can look that up. Tranquil87 asks, you have the choice between either eating meat once a day for a year or a painless death. What is your choice? I'm assuming what Tranquil means is that the eating of the meat once a day for a year would result in a painless death. In that case, I would not eat the meat, and my answer is actually kind of selfish, strangely enough. I think, this is my theory anyway, that a painless death doesn't necessarily mean, isn't necessarily the best thing, even though it sucks to die of a degenerative or terminal disease. In some ways, you know, it would give you time to prepare for death, time to say what you need to say to relatives and friends, you know, all these kinds of things, which I think could be quite valuable. I'm really tired, it's like 1:30 in the morning. Riz.on asks, which situation would you rather be in? 1. Stuck in an elevator with explosive diarrhea, or 2. Stuck in an elevator with a Nissan. And yeah, whatever man has answered this for me, he said both, and I cracked up laughing when I read that, so I thought that was awesome. Social Deviant 77 asks, would you rather be stoned to death by pickles, or have your body covered in paper cuts and then dipped in a tub of rubbing alcohol? I would go for the latter, because in the former, like, I don't know if he means both would end in death, but the first one is stoned to death, and the other one is covered in paper cuts and then dipped in a tub of rubbing alcohol. So I'm assuming you're still alive after this whole paper cut rubbing alcohol experience. So I prefer to live, so I choose the latter. And the Amazing Atheist writes, how do you reconcile being vegan with not being totally unlikable as a person? Most vegans seem to have trouble with this. Maybe you can give them some advice. Also, why would you make a video asking people to deconvert you from veganism when no one wants you deconverted? People who eat meat don't care about what vegans eat. We just don't want to hear about your simple dietary choice as if it was some sort of philosophy. Now, TJ, I don't know how I got sucked into this whole thing of watching your videos. You know, I should always stick with my initial conclusion about people. You know, because I had seen some of your videos with you being a complete ignorant twat, and that was my initial impression of you. And then my partner watched some of your older videos, you know, some of your really thoughtful, you know, thought-provoking videos, where you were like sharing your soul, like bearing your soul and talking about all these important issues, and like, you know, being emotional and things, and, you know, generally acting like a real person, like a genuine real person. And he was like, look at this, and I started watching them and I got sucked in, you know. And I thought, wow, this person's really quite an amazing, deep human being. But, you know, I've started to come to the conclusion that you're just a bitch and a troll. And I don't know, just maybe I'm psychic, but I know somehow that your opinions that you're espousing here are not entirely genuine. What's that? Yeah.